Good Thursday morning, everybody. So excited. We are back with football, NFL. I'm so excited. Been waiting since the Super Bowl to finally watch NFL football again. I love college too. I watch a good bit of college, but Misty and I were always really big into NFL as well. We always, on Sundays during NFL season, I always took Sundays off, and we would watch football together. There's a little bar in Carolina Forest, about 10 minutes down the road from where we live, or where I live now, but when she was still here, we'd go to this old bar called Hanley's, little Irish pub, full of TVs, and we would sit there and watch the 1 o'clock games and just have a good time, just geek out on football. She played fantasy. I never played fantasy, but she was big into fantasy, so she'd sit there and watch all our players and keep up with how she was doing. So really excited to watch that. She was a big Kansas City fan, mostly because Mahomes went to Texas Tech, which was where she went to college, and when he got drafted there, she became like the biggest Kansas City fan. So it'll be fun to watch him play tonight. And so anyway, we're back on another mulching job, and we got a little backyard to take care of. It's pretty overgrown, not the worst I've ever seen. So let's take a look at what we got, and then we'll get to making some mulch. All right, got the Mini here, and I'm kind of, now I could have done this job with the skid steer too, but I was actually taking the Mini to another job, which is and this job was on the way, and I need the Mini. I cannot use the skid steer for this other job we're going to do. It's super tight where we're going to be working around some timber trees, so I had to have the Mini, and this job was on the way, so just figured we'd knock out two birds with one stone, so to speak. So we got this little backyard, and we just got to clear this little block here, basically from where that kind of starts and then curves back around to about where this pine is on there, and then straight back kind of to where the other wood line is over there. So most of this isn't too bad in here. A lot of little water oaks. These are water oaks, and some other little swamp magnolias, and some vines here at the front, and then that kind of opens up in the back. You can walk through it, so if you can walk through it, it's not too bad. There's a couple little pines in there as well, nothing crazy. So I think once I kind of get past this corner here, we should be able to cut most of this in one or two swaths with the machine. So this should go down pretty quick and pretty easy. So we'll make this look good and see what it looks like at the end. This is a perfect little job. Be interested in getting one of these this kind of setup with a mini excavator with a mulcher. These little backyards like this is perfect for these, because you can get into these tight areas really quick, working around some of these tighter trees, knock out a job like this in a few hours, and it's on to the next thing. So and then also the entry point price wise for something like this is a lot less than what would be a skid steer, even a smaller skid steer, especially if you're buying new. So and these, in my opinion, an excavator is a lot more versatile than a skid steer when it comes to doing work. So all right, let's get this started. nicely. I'll pull this top of this tree out of here. These bigger oak trees that I'm taking down, these are water oaks. And if you guys are familiar with my channel, you're familiar with a water oak. Oh! They like to do that right there. They are a magnet for vines. For some odd reason, I think it's because the branches hang really low in them when they start off a lot of times, and for some reason the vines just love these water oak trees. They really seem to kind of migrate towards them. I'm not sure why that is, but it just seems to always be the case. You will find vines on water oak trees more often than not, especially when they get bigger. Like that tree right there that I still got to take down, that's a water oak tree. Let me 1 second. I'm gonna clean off the windshield. It's a little dirty. Hold on. There we go. All right. Let's see what else we can get down in here. Vines have about half taken over this little backyard area. I've seen worse, but this one's pretty eat up. I'm sure you guys can see. Can you guys see that? Kinda. That's a little better. Cool thing about this job is the clients are fans of the channel, and when I called the owner to set up this job, he recognized my voice over the phone. He said, "Are you the guy from YouTube?" I was like, "Yep, that's me." And he said, "Man, that's so cool." And so yeah, so here we are doing this job for a fan of the channel. He said he's been watching my channel for years. That tree right there's got a ribbon on it right there. So that's our edge. We're not going past that. So I'm just going to kind of clean this little corner up right here. We'll knock the branch off that gum tree. There we go. I'm just going to kind of clean up this corner right here. Knock down some of these vines. If you're a good operator, you can almost treat this mulcher on this excavator almost like a weed eater. I mean, you get right up next to these trees, kind of cut some of those vines. Even if you can't get them, the vines out of the trees, if you can cut the bottom of them, a lot of times they'll eventually die, or at least what's hanging in the tree will die and fall out. Now the vines at the bottom will start to regrow if you don't spray them or rip them out, but at least the ones in the tree will start to come out. Usually after a year or two, they'll just fall right out of the tree. Especially after a good storm with a good bit of wind, they'll just flop right down. Might take a year or two, but they'll eventually come out. Got a Chinaberry tree right here. Nasty things. good. Try to avoid running over the stumps with the tracks. That's a good way to throw a track off, is running over a stump. That's typically how it happens in these jobs like this, working in these forests like this when you're underbrushing with a Mini. You want to avoid running over the stumps no matter how small. Because even if you cut them below ground, the tracks will still feel them. They'll still press onto the track as you go through. Come on, China Berry. There we go. I can drag it out of there. Come here. This is what I love about the Mini too, with dealing with these trees that have got vines and stuff on them. With the skid steer, I have very little ability to manipulate the material if it's hanging or if it's on the ground. But with this, I can push and pull and drag and move things around a lot easier. Get them where I want them and start mulching them up, or if a top gets hung up in a tree, I can reach up and get it out. It's a lot more difficult to do that with the skid steer. And so these little backyards that have a lot of vines, a lot of times it is actually a lot easier to do this with the Mini. You can get the trees that are hung up with all the vines, you can get them to come down, or you can pull them down, cut them down. It's a lot easier. Come on. See those vines back there, they're fighting me. I'm just going to keep mulching this tree up and pulling it back towards me. Now I can go to the front here, we get the top. I should be able to just drag the whole thing, see if I can hook the top and just drag the whole thing back towards me. Hopefully those vines will break. Kinda, sorta. I'm gonna cut them. Oh, hello. There we go. Seems to be running pretty good since we got it back from the weld shop, so I'm really happy about that. We will just work our way on through this hole right here and keep moving along. This will be done here soon. All right, that is the job. Got all that taken care of, and it looks really nice. Owners are super happy with everything, and we got, there was a lot of those water oaks in here, which is what those trees are, that right there, which that's the neighbor's tree, but yeah, there was a lot of them in here, and they are easy to mulch, and at the same time they're hard to mulch. They're easy to mulch because they typically don't grow too tall. That one's actually pretty tall, but most of the time they don't grow super tall. And the wood fiber is very stringy and fibrous, and it is a little bit tough to mulch, but it actually, when the mulcher grabs it, it really wants to bring it into the mulcher. As with like a pine, the wood is really sappy, and it's really kind of brittle. It is pretty hard, especially down at the base, but it's also very brittle. And when the teeth cut into it, they basically just kind of break it up or chip it and cut it, but it won't actually suck it into the mulcher. Especially when you back drag, it'll just chip it off, keep chipping and chipping and chipping. But with these water oaks, they're so fibrous, even on a big piece, it'll just grab it and suck it right in and break it up. And it really helps to kind of run that stuff through. You can see it's like, that's a piece of it right there. You can see how just fibrous it is. You know, pine doesn't look like that when you mulch it. It's always in little bitty pieces because it's just so brittle. But this stuff you can just grab, like that tooth will just grab that little piece right there, and it'll suck the whole piece in and kind of help break it up. But makes for nice mulch. Looks nice. There's a few pines in here we took down, but yeah, it looks good. That was a nice little backyard job. The Mini is perfect for little jobs like this, working around these trees and working in the tight areas and stuff. Makes it look so good. And it's basically kind of like having a weed eater on the end of the machine. You can get right up next to the trees and just make it look good and go right down that line and clean it up, clear it out, and that looks good. So they're super happy with everything. We got everything blown off, got the yard blown off, blown out, cleaned up, and that looks nice. So perfect job for the Mini, perfect little job for a Thursday. So supposed to be going to a job tomorrow, but I called that guy and texted him to confirm everything. Haven't heard back from him yet, but I hope we will be doing another. It's probably about a 2 to 3 day mulching job. Hopefully we're starting that tomorrow, but still waiting to hear back. But if not, we got other things to do, so not a worry. So we'll be back, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.